We are currently in the launch window for MTG's newest Spiderman set, and it's part of an initiative called Universes Beyond, where existing intellectual properties get repackaged as Magic cards. The new set is coming out to mixed reviews, and opinions of the whole UB project have been mixed pretty much from the outset as well. But the release of the Spiderman set isn't necessarily why I'm making this video. It has more to do with how the positive sides of Universes Beyond, especially the sales and related metrics, are being talked about, and the gaps that I perceive to be present in that discussion. So let's chat about what problems I see with the current strategy behind Universes Beyond, but also what it kind of does well, and what solutions to these problems I see emerge out of an analysis of both. Now, since the UB initiative has been online for quite a while, and it has stayed controversial with at least parts of the player base, there have been attempts to put a yoke of objectivity on the discussion. And at least from Hasbro's and WotC's side, it has often taken the form of Mark Rosewater, MTG's head designer and public ambassador, sharing some behind-the-scenes business metrics. And the general picture painted is that UB sets are extremely profitable. They introduce new players to the game who then transition to playing other Magic sets at a rate that WotC is happy with. They are also quite effective at reactivating lapsed players, players who took a break at some point, and seeing that Spiderman card is just the motivation that they need to come back into the game. And for established players, those are still a top source of profit, but bearing in mind that they are often priced at a premium, we don't have the full picture here. So from a metric optimization standpoint, these sets seem to be doing their jobs very well. They introduce new players to the game, reactivate ones on a hiatus, while keeping established, entrenched players reasonably happy. Now, to give my 2 cents as to why I don't feel that ends the discussion here. First of all, let's engage in a bit of logical jujitsu. In a just world, enjoyable and quality products are profitable. By which I mean, if you create a fun game, then you will make a bunch of money. That is a conditional statement. But if we were to look at what we would call the converse statement, if a game is profitable, then it is fun, or if a product is profitable, then it is of high quality, even though that would work under formal logic, I don't feel like it's equally reflective of the real world. And you know, I don't mean this as kind of like a sneak diss, a sneaky implication that Magic is becoming markedly worse or markedly less fun. We will get to my actual implications in a bit, but just that an increase in profits doesn't have to stem from an increase in product quality, or an increase in overall, let's call it fun factor. If you've played, for example, certain gacha games on the market, you know very well that profit may be divorced from fun or quality. And for an example from within Magic, let's take Secret Lures, limited edition alternate art for existing cards. They sell well, at least in part because they are limited edition. There is an urgency factor, there is a fear of missing out factor involved. That doesn't increase their quality automatically, even though it does increase their profit. It doesn't make the process of buying them more fun. If you've tried to get some of the more popular ones, you will know that the process is not fun. So there is an increase in profits, even though there isn't an increase in fun or product quality. Quality might mean profits, but profits don't have to mean quality, is my full point here. Now, a less hypothetical reason why I don't accept success on these metrics as an overall guarantee of Universes Beyond success is something called attribution. And this is something that I deal with a lot professionally as a marketing data analyst. And the gist of it is that companies know where the money is coming from, what product is selling, but they have to make their best guess as to why that product is selling. And these are often 2 different beasts. Coming back to the gacha games example, the most profitable part of these games are often pop-ups that you see immediately after failing a mission. Does that mean that pop-ups or failure are especially fun? I don't think so. Does it mean that those things are especially profitable on their own? I also don't think so. If you were to make a game that's all failure and pop-ups, that would probably be an interesting art project, but probably not a moneymaker on its own. And to get out of gacha games, what I mean is that quite often it's going to be impossible, or at least difficult, to connect an increase in a metric with a specific decision that was made. You know, whether Magic is growing as a result of the introduction of UB, or whether Universes Beyond sets are doing well because of overall growth of Magic, is going to be kind of muddy waters. It's going to be a best guess on WotC's part. It's probably going to be a bit of a column A, a bit of a column B situation, to be perfectly honest with you. So even though, and I am especially making this argument for enfranchised players, even though Universes Beyond sets are where they are spending money, I don't think that's why they are spending money, if that makes sense. So to sum up these 2 points, even if those business metrics speak to the success of Universes Beyond, I don't think that's a blanket guarantee of them being successful on all fronts. Them being record breakers doesn't necessarily speak to them being standalone successes, and I don't think that a Magic that's all Universes Beyond would automatically be higher quality, more fun, more enjoyable. And let's dwell on that last sentence for a bit. A Magic the Gathering that's all Universes Beyond. The plan currently is that Universes Beyond will make up about 50% of Magic's release schedule. I think Hasbro and WotC have enough qualified people on board that that is a reasonable educated guess at what the most profitable ratio is going to be. And there is probably someone, maybe even like a team of people, keeping their finger on the pulse to see if people are dropping off as a result of too much Universes Beyond. But my true problem here, the part that I am most passionate about, isn't that they are, overreaching in a business sense, that it's ultimately going to hurt their profits because they are pushing UB too much. I can see a world in which they take all the right business decisions, ensure maximum profitability, ensure maximum mass appeal and popularity of the game, and we still end up with a state of Magic that I'm personally unhappy with. And let me tell you why. Profit and popularity are a positive for a card game, all other things being equal. But I don't think all other things are equal here. My idea of peak Magic is one with a strong artistic vision and world-building background behind it. It's where mechanics and card designs are used to tell original Magic stories of high quality. And with 50% of WotC resources going to projects that are not part of that vision, it becomes a trade-off. With, let's say, 50% of cards I see on tables not reinforcing original Magic stories, it becomes a trade-off. It's a trade-off of the integrity of that vision versus profit and popularity. And Universes Beyond are not the only example. I could make another video about how the simplified Planet of Huts world building of sets like Thunder Junction are another example of this. And to be clear, that doesn't mean that I want Wizards to minimize profit by force. I don't think that makes sense. I just want to highlight that the current profitability and mass appeal tactics do have a cost associated with them. Part of that cost needs to be paid to ensure the survival of the game, and it may not even seem like much of a cost in the first place if you don't see upholding Magic's originality and artistic integrity as a goal worth pursuing. But it is very much one that I hold dear. And let's not misunderstand here, I'm not saying that we should value artistic integrity, originality, strong world building as a means to making profit. I'm not calling to prioritize it because otherwise the sales will eventually stop. I'm calling to prioritize it as a goal of its own, on par with all those business metrics, retention, profit, sales numbers, so on and so forth. I mean, to be fair, I think it might eventually impact sales. I think those mass appeal tactics are contributing to feelings of player fatigue that are being talked about more nowadays. But again, not talking about a means to an end, but an end of its own. Now, that was very doom and gloom, so let me tell you about some positives that I also see here. I very much vibe with Universes Beyond being a vehicle for introducing new players to the game. I think everyone should learn to play MTG on a basic level, like chess or poker, and I think being able to learn the basic rule set of the game by playing with characters that you already know and love, let's say from Final Fantasy, makes that process a bit smoother and a bit more appealing to certain folks. And I think that's unilaterally positive. I can also see that logic applying to lapsed players if it provides you with additional motivation to get back into the game, get used to, mana burn no longer being a thing and like damage no longer going on the stack. That's also a good thing. I very much like that. Point number 2, as an armchair designer, I also very much look forward to those new IPs providing an avenue for exploring new, interesting design. Like, the bendings from the avatar sets are actual design gems, and I'm happy that they happened as a result of the collaboration with Avatar. So that's also something that I view as good. As such, I'd like to see Universes Beyond take its place in Magic's release schedule as a silver-bordered starter product. It would still allow for a celebration of the IP, all those imaginative new mechanics to happen, while preserving my vision of Magic. It could be sold as a variety of 2 or 4 player starter sets, individual starter decks, plus maybe sealed packs, or maybe even like a pre-built cube for people who want to play limited. The quantity of these sets could probably do with a slight limiting as well, but I don't think that's the main point I want to make here. Ultimately, in the same way I feel unsets have not diluted Magic's vision as a whole, I feel like this separation would be a step in the right direction towards a Magic that I would enjoy greatly. And again, Magic standing on its own would not be a step towards profitability, but a worthy goal of its own. Thank you to the supporters over on patreon.com/gamesdeconstructed, especially ASAS, Good Luck, and Anna Schultz. And thanks a lot to you for watching this video. I've been Simon from Games Deconstructed, and I hope to see you in the next one.